And I am alive talking about A Working Man, the new Jason Statham movie. Now be advised, we will have spoiler ahead. So if you don't want to get spoiled, well, that's your warning. And let's go to the intro now. So, A Working Man, it is, what I should say, what the movie is all about. Well, it's an action flick, and Jason Statham is an action star, if we can call him that way. He was in Beekeeper last year. He was in a lot of the Fast and the Furious movies, and yeah, he's back with A Working Man. A working man is a guy that went in the military for quite some time we don't know about in the past. He is back in the country and he never really left the battlefield. So that's the premise. He is now a construction worker and you try really hard to put aside, to leave behind his past life. Why does he do that? Well, he has a kid, and apparently the mother is not really around, so granddad is actually taking care of the kid. And granddad actually ate the main character because the main character is still at war pretty much all the time. So you were spoiled, you were warned. That's the premise. So, veteran guy that went in the army and that shot people. He's back in the country working as a construction worker. And eventually, the daughter of his boss is going out to party and see some friend and do substance, and she end up being kidnapped by the villain of this movie. And what happens? Well, Jason Statham knows about that, and he goes after this criminal. That's the synopsis of the movie. Uh, let's save the girl. Let's rescue the girl. Now, with that being said, we will dive deep into the things I liked about that movie and like my issues with it. Because let's be honest, that movie is not perfect. I have seen a lot of action flick, and I will say that one is average. I've seen a lot of worst and a lot of better movies. A Working Man is just a fun time. Don't expect a masterpiece because it's not. Uh, it's a fun flick. There's action, and this is what we ask for when we watch a Jason Statham flick. Now, let's get into my issues with this movie. My first issue, plot convenience. As Jason Statham ran away, he bumps into bike riders about to leave, therefore, he could escape without having trouble to start a bike. Number two, during the bike pursuit, the enemies can aim. It was almost a parody. They sprayed their rifles and they couldn't aim. That was hilarious. Uh, the next issue I had with this movie, plot convenience. As the villain were about to end the girl's life, the client calls to ask for her saving her life. Very convenient, really hard to believe. I didn't get around that one. Uh, the fourth issue I had with this movie, bar shootout. When the main character captured the enemies couldn't aim and it was unbelievable. My fifth issue, more of the same. During the third act, the big shootout before the Russian arrival, the enemies can aim. And my final issue, again in the third act, after the Russians' arrival, more enemies not being able to aim was annoying. Now, these were my issues, and I will tell you this. This movie has so many supporting villains, so many main villain. Actually, it had like two main villain and many supporting villain. And that was interesting. I enjoyed that quite a lot. They had charisma. I think everyone was well casted. And overall, the action, when you can suspend disbelief and when you can get around the fact that nobody can aim in that movie, that was cool action. Uh, gun, fist fight, that was all very fun. And an idea there is nice theme of all military people can't live normal lives and are judged by everyone else. That was a lot hinted at during the movie. Now, well depicted how some of the supporting villains were incompetent, and said incompetence would explain how their prisoner would escape. And it was also interesting how we got corrupt cop in that movie, and guess what? Karma. These corrupt cop get blown out by the bad guys at the end. That was a very fun moment that I enjoyed a lot. Uh, the pacing was perfect. I feel like we go to a thing to another, from a thing to another. It never stops. You cannot really breathe, and I like when movies are like that. I want to spend a good time. That movie is like 2 hour, and you just don't see it coming by. You just sit there and enjoy the trip, enjoy the show, as they say. Uh, and again, charisma was cool, fight choreography was nice, and it was also well shown how military people, they respect each other. They are on opposite side, but they're like, you know what? I get you. I understand you, and that was part of the charm. A working man is just a fun time. It's not a masterpiece. It's not a bad movie either. It's just a fun trip. Now, I don't have a lot more to say outside of I'm looking forward to see more Jason Statham, because the guy is cool. I like his movies. The Beekeeper last year was better than this, but I still enjoyed the trip. And I won't lie, this is one of the weakest movie we had this year. I think that one is maybe slightly above Love Earths. Far better than whatever we got with a Minecraft movie. Speaking of Minecraft, we talk about that tomorrow morning with Drape, a friend of the channel. So yeah, action flick. We got better action flick this year. Novocaine is one of them. Fight or Flight is another better action flick than this. I can go on and on about like how many better movies we got. So yeah, I think that movie still deserves some recognition, some respect on its name. A Working Man for me is a 7.5 out of 10. And I wish I had more to say. I wish that movie was better, but I think this is the way it is. It's an action flick. Um and I've seen lots of action flick. Action movies are my thing. I also enjoyed Flight Risk. I'm in the minority. Apparently, everyone hates that thing. Um, so give A Working Man a chance. And it's funny because A Working Man gives me some kind of Die Hard fan, but the old Die Hard when it used to be good. That's kind of funny. But yeah, I cannot wait for tomorrow. There's like three movies I will go see in the theater over the weekend, and one of them will be The Amateur, a new kind of trailer, a new kind of spy trailer. I'm looking forward for that one, and I will be reviewing it next week, probably Wednesday, something like that. Um, anyway, tonight is going to be short because we already had an hour talk of Daredevil Born Again, and that's enough of a working man. And with this, we are out.